Yesterday, I went for a dinner with a friend, and my friend asked me, what is the opposite of distraction? And I thought to myself, this must be like a trick question, since he knows that I coach, high performers to create a life and business of freedom from perfectionism with the power of the subconscious mind. So he's well aware that I'm dealing with procrastination as well. And so the first thing that came to my mind was obviously, well, the opposite of distraction must be focus, right? And then he said, have a look at the word distraction, because the answer is within the word. The opposite of distraction is traction. But not only that, if you look at traction, that consists of trACTION, right? Traction. And so the opposite of distraction is traction and thus action, right? So that gave me like a light bulb moment, because obviously the opposite of distraction is traction and action. With perfectionism, what it does is that it oftentimes makes you distracted from what actually gives traction and what kind of action you actually would like to take. And procrastination is really just distraction. You're oftentimes distracted subconsciously, by all of these different things that you've got going on. Because our, society and just everything in general is kind of encouraging you to keep as many balls in the hands as possible at the same time and kind of busy you with all of these things. And oftentimes, too, we find a lot of value in being busy. You probably have recognized how common this word is, busy. How often do you say, or your friends or people around you say, that they are busy? I'm just so busy. I can't right now. I'll have to do it later. So busy. And that just goes to show how distraction is really not only, distracting yourself, but it actually also creates disconnection between people. Distraction is something that, blocks action. Also, it blocks disconnection, I would say. So with this distraction, have a think about it. What kind of action is it that you most would want to do, that would bring the most amount of value into your life and change into your life and growth into your life, that you're currently not taking? What action is that? Right? Oftentimes, it requires bravery, and it requires you to feel worthy about what will come after the action. So look at what is it that will come after the action that I have some kind of disempowering emotions around. Am I not feeling worthy of what comes after that action and what kind of comes with the action? How can I allow myself and give myself permission to feel worthy of that? And how can I kind of give myself some more uplifting, empowering emotions around this action? Because I will probably say this over and over and over again, that, procrastination is emotional. So regardless of how many times you try to force yourself to go and overcome perfectionism and overcome procrastination, you simply can't do it like that. Because again, it's emotional. We're dealing with the emotional limbic system, right? The subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind simply wants to bring you towards pleasure and away from pain, towards what is familiar and away from what's unfamiliar. So the only way to really go about procrastination I would say, is bringing more uplifting, empowering emotions around the action that you're going to take. Have active pictures, mental pictures in your mind about how good you'll feel when you are doing it and after, right? Kind of tricking your mind like that. And really just encouraging yourself over and over. And through repetition as well, through repeatedly taking some sort of action, it will actually become more familiar. And when things become more familiar to you, right, that is when the amount of resistance that it will take for you to do something will lower. And that is when procrastination also will lower, because procrastination is resistance, isn't it? It's resistance to doing something. See? During the conversation that I had yesterday too, we talked about how oftentimes we kind of strive for happiness. That is all about being happy all the time. When in fact, oftentimes, what actually brings growth is kind of doing something that is not necessarily giving you instant pleasure, but that over time can give you pleasure. You know what I mean? So if you are constantly chasing what brings you happy and kind of avoiding everything else in a way, you fall into procrastination, and so you begin procrastinating on your biggest dreams, on what it is that you truly want. So being able to shift your kind of goal and intention from being happy to rather being present with what is and acting and creating traction, right, from that place, that can give you a sense of fulfillment in the long term. And being able to train and rewire your subconscious mind for this happens through emotion, conviction, and repetition. So having enough emotion, right, positive, uplifting, empowering emotions around what it is that you're doing, feeling a sense of conviction around what you're doing, meaning that you have a sense of commitment around it, right? When you have that commitment, that can take you places. Commitment and courage together, that is what eventually creates confidence in you, right? And then, if you then have that, in addition to repeatedly showing up over and over and over again for this thing that you're taking action on, that will make things more familiar. See? And so all of this together, being able to have, emotion, conviction, and repetition all together, that allows you to go from distraction to traction to action. See how this kind of walks hand in hand here? So if you'd like to know more about procrastination, about how to truly, bloom beyond it, because procrastination is a form of perfectionism and it is highly emotional and subconscious, then make sure to apply to join the Bloom Beyond tribe with other sunflowers and bloomers who are working on the very same thing and being able to create a life and business of freedom, from perfectionism with the power of the subconscious mind all together, right? And then you're more than welcome to come in and also take a look at the programs that we offer to really create lasting change, lasting evolution, lasting growth regarding this. Because, procrastination, perfectionism is the biggest block. It is truly one of the biggest blocks there is to creative expression and to everything that would bring you lasting fulfillment in life. See? So until then, stay bright, stay brave, and stay balanced.